I used to believe that danger came with sirens, storms, or the shadows of the night. That it had a sound, a warning. I never imagined it could arrive quietly, silently, in the most ordinary moment of all, a morning shower. My father, Mr. Lee, was the kind of man who found joy in the small things. A cup of warm tea, a folded newspaper, the sound of birds outside his window at 6:00 a.m. He was 78 years old and still fiercely independent. Widowed for nearly a decade, he lived alone in the same house we had grown up in, the same house he had repaired with his own hands after every storm. His mornings were sacred. At 6:00 a.m. sharp, he would begin his day with a steaming shower. It was his ritual, comforting, familiar. Until the morning, I found him lying cold and unconscious on the bathroom floor, steam still rising around his fragile body. I thought I had lost him. We had no warning, no clue, no doctor had ever told us that something as simple as a morning shower could put an elderly man's life in danger, but as I later learned heartbreakingly, we were not alone. Thousands of seniors, just like my father, face similar risks every day without realizing it. The combination of aging blood vessels, medication timing, dehydration, and the body's natural rhythms creates a perfect storm during those early hours. And yet, no one talks about it, not clearly, not urgently, until now. What happened to my father could happen to yours, or to your mother, your grandmother, or you. This story isn't just about an accident. It's about the fragile line between routine and risk, and how a lifetime of habits can become life-threatening with age. Over the next chapters, I'll walk you through what truly happened that morning, the slow unraveling of answers, the experts we spoke to, the quiet, devastating truth behind shower incidents in older adults, and the changes, small but powerful, that can protect your life or the life of someone you love. You may never look at a shower the same way again. But that's the point, because this story isn't here to scare you. It's here to wake you up, gently, compassionately, the way we all wish someone had done for us before it was almost too late. Chapter 1. The steam behind the door. The morning started just like any other. It was a quiet Thursday in October, the kind of morning where the air still clings to the last chills of night and the sky hasn't quite decided whether to rise or sleep in. I remember because I had promised my father I'd stop by with a fresh loaf of bread from the local bakery he loved. Only if they have the sesame kind, he had joked the day before, his voice still strong, still filled with that gentle mischief that made him seem younger than he was. I arrived at his house around 7:45 a.m. The gate was open, it usually was. The porch light, oddly, was still on. I knocked once, twice, but there was no answer. His bedroom door was ajar, his bed still made. I called out, "Ba, are you in the kitchen?" Still nothing. It was the sound that made my stomach twist. Not a crash, not a cry, just the low, steady hum of running water behind the bathroom door. The kind of sound you don't notice until it lasts too long. I knock. "Ba, you okay?" No answer. I pushed open the door. The steam was thick, like fog had rolled into the room and refused to leave. I remember blinking hard, trying to adjust to the hazy light. The tiles were damp. The scent of eucalyptus soap hung in the air. And then I saw him. He was lying on the floor, curled slightly on his side, one arm folded awkwardly beneath him. His skin was pale and his face was still. The water from the shower was still spraying across the tiled floor, pooling beneath his feet. For a second I froze. My mind couldn't catch up to what my eyes were telling me. Then everything happened at once. I turned off the water, dropped to my knees, shouted his name, shook his shoulder gently at first, then harder. "Ba, wake up! Ba, can you hear me?" Nothing. I called 911 with shaking hands. I remember the operator asking me if he was breathing. I didn't know. I couldn't tell. My own breath was too loud in my ears, my voice too frantic. I kept thinking, he was fine. He was just fine. Yesterday he was joking with me about sesame bread. The paramedics arrived in what felt like forever and no time at all. They worked quickly, too quickly, like people who had done this too many times before. One of them checked his pulse. Another gently moved his head. I heard the words, faint, possible hypotension, hypothermic shock. When they lifted him onto the stretcher, his arm fell limply to the side. That image has never left me. At the hospital, the waiting was unbearable. They took him into the emergency unit, hooked him up to machines I didn't understand. I sat in a chair that felt too small, too cold. I called my sister, called my wife. I didn't cry, not yet. I couldn't. I kept thinking, this doesn't make sense. It's just a shower. When the doctor came in, she spoke with the kind of calm I now recognize as practiced. The calm of someone who has delivered too many versions of the same news. Your father had a severe drop in blood pressure. We believe it caused him to faint in the shower. His body temperature also dropped more than it should have. He's stable for now, but very weak. She paused, then added gently, this isn't uncommon, especially in patients over 70. The timing of the shower, combined with age, possible dehydration, and medication, it creates a dangerous combination. I stared at her. She explained that the body undergoes natural changes in the early morning hours. That between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock, i.e. blood pressure tends to surge, heart rate changes rapidly, and for older adults, this puts significant strain on the cardiovascular system. Combine that with the heat of a shower, the steam, and any medications taken first thing, and a simple morning ritual becomes a silent risk. I felt sick. No one had ever told us this. Not his general practitioner, not his cardiologist, not a single pamphlet in the waiting room. It had never occurred to me, or to him, that a habit so ordinary could be so lethal. That night, after he was transferred to a recovery ward, I sat beside his bed and held his hand. His breathing was slow, steady, his skin warmer now. He didn't wake up, but the nurse said he might by morning. I stared at the rise and fall of his chest and whispered the same thing over and over again. I'm sorry, Ba. I didn't know. I should have known. But how could I? Who talks about this? We're warned about slippery floors, bathtubs, handrails, but no one warns us about the hour. No one tells us that the quietest moment of the day could be the most dangerous. That night, I started researching. I read studies, journals, hospital reports. I spoke with specialists, and I discovered a horrifying truth. What happened to my father happens to thousands of seniors every year. But their stories, like his, go unnoticed, dismissed, lost beneath the silence of steam and tile and morning light. This story isn't just for my father anymore. It's for every family who still thinks they're safe because they have grab bars and non-slip mats. It's for every senior who showers at 6 o'clock a.m. without a second thought. It's for everyone who has ever said, but they were so careful, so healthy, because so was my father. And still, we nearly lost him. Chapter 2, What the Clock Hides from Us. It wasn't until the doctor mentioned the words morning surge that I realized I had never truly considered how aging changes the body's rhythm. We all know about routines, morning coffee, breakfast, a walk, but we rarely think about what's happening inside our bodies as the sun comes up. What I learned in the days after my father's fall was startling. Between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock a.m., older adults face what doctors call a physiological ambush. It's when the body, after several hours of rest, suddenly shifts gears. Blood pressure rises, the heart rate increases, hormones surge. For younger adults, these changes are natural, even helpful, but for seniors, whose cardiovascular systems are already more fragile, it's a dangerous transition. This is what experts call the morning surge. Studies from institutions like Harvard Medical School show that during these early hours, older individuals are far more likely to suffer strokes, heart attacks, and sudden drops in blood pressure. The body has to recalibrate after sleep. But when you're over 70, that recalibration comes with risk. Now imagine stepping into a hot, steamy shower at that exact moment. The heat opens your blood vessels, lowering your blood pressure. Your medications, many of which also lower blood pressure, are likely kicking in. You're dehydrated from the night, so your blood volume is already reduced. Then, you're standing, alone, in a slippery room, with limited support. It's a perfect storm. But that's why so many seniors collapse not from illness, but from timing. No one talks about this. Doctors may mention blood pressure and hydration, but rarely do they explain that even healthy seniors, like my father, strong, active, independent, are vulnerable simply because of when they shower. And the danger isn't only in the heart, it's in the brain too. When blood pressure drops too low, it limits blood flow to the brain. That's how fainting happens. One moment everything feels normal, the next, the world goes black. In hindsight, I realized my father had given us signs. He sometimes mentioned feeling off in the morning, a bit dizzy. "It's just age," he would say, brushing it off. But it wasn't just age. It was his body trying to warn him. The saddest part? All of this is preventable. Shower just 2 hours later. Drink a glass of water first. Lower the temperature. Add a simple shower seat, a nightlight, or a grab bar. Small changes, tiny decisions that can literally mean the difference between life and death. If we had known just one of those changes could have protected him that day. And so I ask you now, what time do you shower? And more importantly, is it the safest time for your body? Chapter 3. The Silent Shock of Heat. After the funeral, I stayed a few more days in my father's home. His toothbrush was still on the sink. A folded towel still sat on the rack. I walked into the bathroom the morning after he passed and turned on the shower, not to bathe, but to feel, to try and understand what happened. The steam filled the room quickly, the mirror fogged over, and in that moment I felt it. The heat, the heaviness, the sudden wave of warmth that creeps over your body. It wasn't comfort, it was stress. Older adults lose their ability to regulate body temperature. It's one of the many things aging quietly steals from us. The sensors in the skin become less sensitive, the nervous system becomes slower to react, the ability to cool down or warm up efficiently, things we take for granted in youth, begin to fade with age. Now imagine stepping into a hot shower at 6 o'clock a.m. when your core body temperature is already at its lowest and your blood pressure is still adjusting from sleep. That sudden spike in external heat, it can cause a sharp drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic hypotension, making you lightheaded or worse, unconscious. This is what happened to Albert Reynolds, an 83-year-old who nearly died in his own bathroom. He was in great health for his age. He took his medications every morning at 5:30 a.m., then would jump into a steamy shower by 6 o'clock. One day, the combination of early timing, dehydration, and hot water triggered a cardiac arrhythmia. His heart went into irregular rhythm, and he collapsed. His wife found him minutes later. He survived. Barely. "I never once thought the water was too hot," he told a reporter later. "I liked it that way. I thought it helped my joints." But that soothing warmth was too much for his aging circulatory system to handle. Medical studies support this. When older adults are exposed to high temperatures, especially suddenly, their blood vessels dilate too quickly. Blood pools in the lower half of the body, away from the brain. The result? Fainting. And in the shower, fainting can be fatal. That's why experts now urge seniors to shower with lukewarm water between 95 to 100 DEGF, 35 to 38 DEGC. It might not feel as comforting, but it is infinitely safer. There's another hidden danger: reflexes. If the water is too hot or too cold, younger people react instantly, jumping out, adjusting the temperature, bracing themselves. But seniors, their reflexes are slower. Their skin doesn't register too hot fast enough. That's why older adults are more likely to suffer burns in the shower, not from carelessness, but from delayed sensory feedback. A man named Franklin, 79, shared his story in an online forum. "One morning I turned the faucet the wrong way. The water got hot fast, but I didn't notice in time. I ended up with second-degree burns on my leg." That's not just pain, that's hospitalization, that's a risk of infection, that's months of recovery. The solution? Use a shower thermometer or install a thermostatic valve. Keep water temperature between 95 and 100 degrees. Avoid sudden changes in pressure or temperature. Install anti-scald devices on all bathroom faucets. And most importantly, shower during the hours your body is fully awake, fully alert, and most capable of responding. My father didn't have those tools. He thought feeling warm meant feeling safe, but warmth and wellness are not always the same thing. If you or someone you love enjoys hot showers, please reconsider. That small comfort is not worth the risk. There are safer ways to ease joint pain, like warm compresses or gentle baths in the middle of the day. And if your loved one insists the hot shower is just what they need, remind them what they really need is to be alive to enjoy another morning. Chapter 4. The Medication Trap. 2 days after the funeral, I sat with Dad's pill organizer in my hands. Monday to Sunday, morning and night, every little compartment was still full, untouched since the day he passed. That's when something clicked. He had always taken his blood pressure medication right after waking, around 5:30 a.m. Then, less than 30 minutes later, he'd step into the shower. It was a routine, a habit, but also, as I'd come to learn, a dangerous combination. Doctors at Mayo Clinic have warned for years, many blood pressure medications reach peak effect 1 to 2 hours after ingestion. This means your pressure can dip significantly, right when you're standing in a hot shower where blood vessels dilate and blood pools in your lower body. The result? A double drop in blood pressure. The heart slows down, blood flow to the brain decreases, and in an environment like a bathroom, slippery, enclosed and isolated, this is a perfect storm. Patrish, a 76-year-old widow from Texas, told her story on a health forum. I fainted in the shower twice in 1 month. I thought I had low iron. Turned out I was taking my meds at 6 o'clock and showering at 6:30. My doctor made me move my showers to 10 o'clock, IEMEM. I've been fine since. It's a simple change, but one that literally saves lives. Never shower within 2 hours of taking blood pressure meds. Consult your doctor to adjust medication timing if needed. Keep a clear routine, one for meds, one for showering. Never overlap. This chapter is not about fear, it's about clarity. Our parents and we someday may not realize that something as small as timing a pill can be the difference between safety and tragedy. If you're reading this for yourself or someone you love, here's what you can do today. Ask when meds are taken. Ask when showers usually happen. Put a sticky note reminder, wait 2 hours after pills before showering. My father never knew, he just wanted to get on with his day. But now you do. Let this small shift in habit become a lifelong shield. Chapter 5. When the light plays tricks. The morning after Dad passed, I walked into his bathroom. It was still dark outside. I didn't turn on the light. I wanted to feel what he might have felt. And that's when I realized I couldn't see anything. Not the puddle of water on the floor. Not the shampoo bottle near his feet. Not even the edge of the bath mat. He didn't fall just because his blood pressure dropped. He fell because he couldn't see where he was going. The hidden danger no one talks about. After age 70, our vision changes dramatically in low light. According to the National Institute on Aging, seniors experience reduced contrast sensitivity, slower pupil adjustment, impaired depth perception. This makes dimly lit environments like a bathroom at 6 o'clock IMOD far more dangerous than we think. Dr. Sarah Johnson, a geriatric ophthalmologist, said it best. Seniors think their vision is fine until they fall, but vision in low-light settings can decline by 60% without them noticing. Bathrooms become trap zones in the early hours. Gregory, an 82-year-old retired carpenter, shared his story with a fall prevention group. I slipped on a wet tile I couldn't even see. It was early, still dark out. I'd done that walk to the shower hundreds of times, but that day my eyes didn't catch the danger. I broke my wrist. The fix is simple and life-saving. Here's what you can do today to protect yourself or your loved one. Install motion-activated night lights along the hallway and inside the bathroom. Use bright, high-contrast bath mats, ones that stand out clearly from the floor. Add an overhead light with a soft glow that comes on with a single switch or step. Avoid early morning showers altogether when natural light is minimal and your vision is weakest. It might seem like a small thing, but in the dark, small things become invisible. And invisible dangers are the deadliest ones. My dad's glasses were folded neatly by the sink. He never got the chance to put them on. Now his story is my reminder and maybe yours too. Chapter 6, The Silent Morning Threat, Dehydration. For years, Dad had a habit of skipping his first glass of water. "I'll drink after my shower," he used to say. But by then, it was already too late. Why mornings are so risky. After 7-8 hours of sleep, your body wakes up in a state of dehydration, especially after age 70. This means lower blood volume, reduced circulation, slower oxygen delivery to the brain. Now add a hot shower, where blood vessels dilate and shift blood to the skin. The result? A sudden drop in blood pressure, a wave of dizziness, a dangerous fall waiting to happen. Dr. William Parker, geriatric specialist at Johns Hopkins, explained, "The combination of overnight dehydration and early morning showering is one of the most overlooked causes of fainting in seniors. Just one glass of water before bathing can prevent catastrophe." Leonard's wake-up call. Leonard, 77, shared his story at a fall prevention seminar. "I'd get lightheaded every time I stepped into the shower in the morning. My doctor finally told me I was dehydrated. Now I drink a full glass of water before I shower, and the dizziness is gone." It was that simple. One glass, 10 seconds, and it saved him from a fall that could have changed everything. What you should do now. If you're caring for someone over 65 or are one yourself, here's what to start tomorrow morning. Keep a glass or bottle of water on the nightstand. Drink at least 200-250 mLs, 8 Oz, of room temperature water before heading to the bathroom. Wait 10-15 minutes before showering to let hydration take effect. You don't need fancy solutions, just awareness and consistency. One glass of water can become your first layer of defense. Dad didn't know, but you do now. Let hydration become your morning shield, the easiest way to stand stronger, safer, and steadier. Chapter 7, The Loneliest Hour. When help doesn't come. The morning Dad passed, no one knew. No alarm went off. No neighbor noticed, and I was still asleep, thinking he was safe. But the truth is, if you fall between 4 o'clock AM and 8 o'clock AM, help may come too late. The hidden risk few talk about. Emergency response studies show seniors who fall during early mornings are 40% less likely to be discovered within the first hour. The chances of hypothermia, bleeding, and fatal complications skyrocket with every passing minute. Dr. Emily Rodriguez, ER specialist, explains, falls that happen in the early hours are the most dangerous. The household is asleep, phones are off, there's no one watching. It's not just the fall, it's the delay that kills. Beatrice's story. Beatrice, 73, slipped at 5:15 a.m. in her bathroom. She had a smart speaker in the living room, but she couldn't reach it. Her daughter found her at 9:30 a.m. She survived but spent 6 weeks in rehab and never fully walked the same. Now she says, "I thought I was just being independent. I didn't realize I was also being invisible." What you can do today to stay safe, especially if you live alone. Install a waterproof emergency call button in the bathroom, one that works even if you fall. Set up daily check-ins with a family member, friend, or neighbor. A short call or text each morning can mean the world. Avoid showering before 9 o'clock a.m. when your body is at its weakest and your support system is still asleep. A simple truth. No one ever plans to fall, but the ones who survive are the ones who planned for it. Conclusion, the change that saved a life. It's been months since Dad's funeral. I still keep a glass of water on my nightstand. I still place a note on my bathroom mirror. Not before 10 a.m. Because even though he's gone, his story changed me, and it might just change you too. If you're reading this for someone you love, ask yourself, do they shower too early? Do they hydrate before bathing? Can they call for help if they fall? These aren't just questions, they're lifelines. And if you're reading this for yourself, let me say this, you deserve to be safe. You deserve mornings without fear. And with just a few small changes, you can protect your future. So tonight, before bed, place a water bottle beside you. Tell someone what time you'll check in tomorrow. And promise yourself, no more 6 a.m. showers. Because life is precious. And the people who love you, they want you to be here tomorrow and for many mornings after. Thank you for reading this far. If this story moved you, share it with your parents, grandparents, or anyone who might be at risk. We can't change what happened to my dad, but we can change what happens next. For you, take care, and we'll see you in the next story.